Welcome to the Two Stewards Show. The global economic system is reorganizing itself in real time, or more explicitly, disorganizing itself. With the advent of artificial intelligence, immense geopolitical forces are vying for ultimate supremacy, the power to price goods and services in their currency, the power to make the rules, the power to rule them all. One way they do this is by bombing and destroying each other. We call this human intelligence. If they had but spent a moment further exercising their human intelligence by asking artificial intelligence what it thought of that idea, they may have come up with a different plan. Why is everything upside down? Who is winning? Are we witnessing what Mark calls the last convulsions of a dying skunk? This time we talk missiles, asymmetric warfare, dog bans, deglobalization, de-dollarization, and more. To get in touch with the show, visit twostewards.ca. Remember, this show is not financial advice, but is valuable for listening amusement purposes. And now, let's exercise our human intelligence.
Okay, we are back with a current events episode. It has been a long time.
Dude,
since...
it's been so long. I have no idea what's going on in the world. It is good to see you again.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, we've had a bunch of guests, a bunch of other things going on, but yeah, time to catch up on stuff. So hope you're ready. I mean, we can't, so much is going on.
It's insane.
Like there's so much going on. We can't possibly cover everything that's happened in the last couple of months. What's that?
The world is upside down.
Yeah, we're in the upside down, to use a current pop reference, which you won't get, and that's fine.
No.
But yeah, we got a few things to cover. So I want to talk about Canada because we live here, so it's probably interesting.
Still called Canada, eh? We're not. Yeah.
Oh, man. I would like to do a land acknowledgement. We're living in the future territory of the United States of America. Oh, man. Did you see that guy who did the taxpayer acknowledgement at the city of Toronto?
No. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, because they always do the land acknowledgements, right? And so they had some guy... where citizens can come up and say their piece. So he was like, I would like to start this off with a taxpayer acknowledgement. I want to acknowledge that every dollar spent in this place, every light bulb that's here was provided by the taxpayers. And he went on for a while and council was not amused.
Hey, it's true. That's good.
Yeah, I think it's what we need. Anyway, so we're going to talk about Canada. We're going to talk a little about UK. I mean, that'll be more of a rant, I think. A little bit about the U.S. AI. I don't know if we'll get to AI, but certainly Iran, because that's in the news, and we should probably comment on that. So,
yeah. So you're going to open my eyes because I've been living under a rock for about 3 months since we last talked.
Yeah.
So what's going on in Canada?
Oh boy. So I guess the big news is Indigenous land claims. So we had talked about the Cowichan decision, Richmond, right? How
Over in BC.
Yeah, I mean, it's all centering on BC, but you got to wonder when it's, if it's going to go any further. So one that I missed, I think everybody kind of did, was the Haida Gwaii decision. This was like last year or within the last couple of years, where essentially the Haida tribe got the whole island basically was ceded to them, including like there's a private property and stuff on there. So like, wow, okay, that's a little bit of a worrying decision, right? And the effects that this is having on A, on real estate, but B, just on the economy in British Columbia. Because who is going to invest in a place where land rights are not respected, right? So the Looney Hours had a guest on, Tom Isaac. And we don't have enough time to cover all this in a quick sort of recap or whatever of current events. But there's a good couple episodes. If people are more interested, I recommend listening to that. And he really digs into it. So the latest one There's government announcement put out on a Friday afternoon and it was like Department of Fisheries or something, right? And somewhere buried in there was like, oh, and by the way, this is federal government now. Federal government has, a 35-page agreement with the Musqueam Nation, acknowledging Aboriginal title to the Greater Vancouver area. And it's one of those things
Friday
where you're
afternoon, right before the March break.
oh, and nobody covered it. None of the media outlets covered it. There was a couple independent ones that picked it up, and then it got out on Twitter, and then all of a sudden, boom, it was out there, and then some of the bigger outlets had to cover it. But like crazy, you just what do you mean Vancouver? The Vancouver in BC, whatever,
Isn't
second
that
or
owned
third
by
largest.
China?
Yeah, Little China, as they call it. No, so they have acknowledged Aboriginal title over the Greater Vancouver area. I don't know. What's the land worth? What's the economic activity worth? Billions, trillions? I don't know. But ridiculous. And then when pressed, there's all these disclaimers no, we're just starting the conversation, It's well, why would you release something that says we acknowledge Aboriginal title of the Musqueam Nation, by the way? So now the Squamish tribe is hey, hold on, guys. We also have,
what about us?
we got stuff in this area. So just everything about it is ham-fisted and wrong and just nuts. In my view, I don't understand. You already have so much uncertainty with the Cowichan decision, and then Kamloops is under. Was it Kamloops? I think that was so much of BC is contested, and they don't have treaties, and it's insane. You can't. How can you exist in a settled country that has land rights? That has fee simple, that's what we call it, right? Which basically means you buy land from the crown and it's yours. And now you have some other thing that can cloud your title or supersedes your title. And I just I sort of understand it, but not really. Just bigger picture. What are they thinking?
Yeah, is this David Eby? You said it's the federal level, but
this is at the federal level.
I'm not going to get you started on David Eby. It's a big sigh there.
Oh man. Well, he's just. It's sort of part of this mess.
Yeah.
Right. He's all over this, and he at first said, "Oh, I had no idea about this agreement."
Of course you did.
Right. And then the feds were "No, he had 2 weeks prior." Advance notice about this, and he was present at the signing. He's oh, I wasn't present as Premier of BC. I was present as a member, an MLA, or just nonsense stuff, right?
Physically present, but my mind was elsewhere.
Yeah, I was emotionally not.
Yeah.
So it's just insane.
Emotionally elsewhere.
Yeah.
I just wasn't feeling it that day, guys.
Intellectually absent.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? He's not dumb.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit before, but it's kind of like a BC problem, from my understanding, because the rest of the provinces have
treaty agreements
in place, right? And
I
BC
guess
is kind of this outlier there.
Yeah, so they don't have treaties, but what is the government then negotiate some treaties?
A new precedent, you mean?
Yeah, what do they just? Don't just give land away, and on the Musqueam side or the Indigenous side, sure, if you're just going to give it to us, we'll take it. Of course they will.
Yeah.
It's not how you negotiate in good faith on the side of the of Canadians, right? Because that's the other side. You've got the Musqueam, which is a band of 1,500 people or something, maybe actual treaty Indians or whatever it's called. And you're just none of it makes sense. It doesn't, none of it. And they don't have to do this.
I don't know. That kind of lines up with our world today.
Yeah, nothing, a lot of it not making sense. So anyways, this will be, this will be litigated, but just the damage they're doing to possible investment in the province of BC, because what investor now is going to invest in a business or land or anything in all of BC, because you can just see, like, if they would do this to Vancouver, which is like the economic hub of British Columbia, clearly they'll do it anywhere and cloud your title, and maybe eventually it gets sorted out, and
and I
you
think
don't
that's
have
the
to
thing maybe
give it away.
politicians don't grapple with today, where they're thinking in these 4-year cycles, and they're thinking about popularity, getting votes, getting reelected, satisfying the voters. But like businesses and corporations, they typically think on longer, like if I'm going to invest $1 billion in X number of infrastructure things that I need to set up in northern BC because of this and this, like I'm not going to do that in a 4-year calculation. I'm planning, like if I'm going to start mining or logging or pipelines or whatever it is, those are multi-decade planned out endeavors, right? Like,
which is ironic because
unless maybe they're funded by the government or like backstopped.
No, the only reason it takes that long is because of the government, right? Like if you told them, hey, go build a mine, they would have the infrastructure built within a year.
Their projections and their decision whether to do it here or there, they're going to do it in North Alberta or they're going to do it in BC. Like that is a big factor. So
huge. But I'm just pointing out the irony is that most of the risk is regulatory. Yeah. It's not like a business decision or like, is there enough gold in the ground for this mine?
I'm kind of on the fence about being positive or negative about Canada, because it's like there is a lot of potential in Canada. Yeah. But then the negative side is this regulation and this like attitude, like it will just figure itself out. And we don't need to actually build any pipelines. We don't need to build transit. We just need to talk about it. We can tax it. We can regulate it. Like, hey,
it's the degrowth mindset, right? Which is just also, it's nuts, but it's sort of environmentalism and whatever else all rolled up into that.
Like, get out of here because we're damaging the environment.
Well, that's sort of the environmental thing. But then there's the whole... like everything progressive and leftist all gets rolled into this, right? The globalist agenda. And then, so it's all like, it's for the environment. There's settler colonialism. So this is where the indigenous stuff gets thrown in. There's diversity. So this is where the Muslim values get thrown in, right? So when you're trying to figure out like what is going on and why is everything just completely upside down? I think that's part of it. And that the degrowth thing is just the worst of all of it, right? Because they're advocating, like, we want growth, right? We want the economy to grow. We want people to prosper and stuff. Degrowth is the opposite of that. It means let's cut back on human flourishing, right? Cut back on industry, commerce, everything. And it's like what are you, 4 years old?
Like your standard of living, like you still expect this, but you're cutting back. You're cutting back the foundations of what makes that possible.
Yeah, and there'd be some people who
like
say
you're
like
sitting
we're
in your
too
luxury house
consumeristic
with like climate control, and you're ordering stuff on Uber, and it's like, why is it not here? Well, yeah, because we didn't build that road. Who needs a road? Are you all right there?
Oh, there we go.
He's got screws.
Sorry,
in his
I got
pocket.
screws in my back pocket.
Hey, don't wreck my chair.
Yeah, I was wrecking my seat.
I mean, you drive around this time of year. It's like a tired time of year, right? Like winter's over, the snow melts, and everything's like, man, what is going on here? Like this place is a mess. Like everyone's yard looks bad. Like that's fallen over.
Yeah,
and it's almost like, we just need to actually get off our computers and get out of our, fake world and actually build our infrastructure up. Like you drive around the roads, it's insane how many potholes. Like you telling me we can't figure it out. Like how many years has this country been in existence? We have frost, we have snow plows, like we have cars. Like how can we not figure out how to maintain a road? I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah, how to build a road properly so that I would agree. But I mean, that's, I don't know if we're going to solve the state of roads today. Right? What do they say? There's only 2 seasons in Canada, winter and construction.
That's right.
So, anyways, okay. So you got this ridiculous stuff going on in BC, and like, it's hard to overstate how important, how critical, and like, at least for BC. And then if if these Aboriginal land claims were to go forward and this Indian band, or maybe the Squamish, or they split it, who knows, actually establish title over these areas of BC, like, what does that mean? And, everybody's like, oh, don't worry, we're not, we're not going to like kick anybody off their land or demand money, or like, yeah, right. You have to imagine this would be, if you're doing policy, you have to do a risk analysis. So like, you imagine what's the worst possible thing that could happen as a result of this. And then you're like, okay, and then now what's the likelihood of that? Right? Not very likely. But knowing human nature, what's the worst possible thing? They could say like, we're selling all this land to the Chinese. I don't know. That seems to me the worst possible thing. And they could do it because they have title.
And they already own it. Or...
yeah. So like, what are you thinking? Completely insane. But yeah, there's other
you
other
stated
things
the
at
risk,
play.
but you didn't say like to what degree that would be a risk. Like you said, okay, what's the worst possible thing? But like, what percentage chance do you think that's actually happening?
I think it could be higher than acceptable, and I don't know.
Okay.
Right? Well, when you do a risk analysis, like there's a 20% chance this could happen, and then what's the monetary possibility? If it's like if at 100% it's 10 million, at 20% it would be 2 million.
Yeah.
So do we run that risk, or do we get insurance somehow against that risk? Right? Or what things can we do to mitigate the risk? So, let's say it's $1 trillion.
It's just one province. We still got the other provinces.
Well, if it's $1 trillion, and because of human nature, there's a 30% chance of it happening. Like, that's a huge risk. Like, how could you take that risk?
We care deeply about the people. All right, let's move on to the next topic in our very long list of updates.
Okay, just quickly, while we're still on the Indigenous side of things, the Kamloops graves, remember the 215 graves?
Were they real graves?
The government's trying to pass legislation to say, for what we're talking about, this would be hate speech, to even question the existence of graves, whether they exist or not.
C9? Or
no, there's a private member's bill that was proposed, and will it go through? I don't know, but the fact that private member's bill actually got to reading and stuff, I think it was Heather McPherson, NDP member, soon to be Liberal, probably. We'll get to that. Anyways, it's just ridiculous. But there's a freedom of information request. The information, some commission forced the government to release the documents because they said any documents in regards to this whole thing are sealed now. And everybody's like, whoa, what the heck? So somebody requested the documents. They got the documents completely blacked out, completely censored. So like there's, the title or whatever, and then just blocks of black. Like... Well, because they can, for a freedom of information request, the government can censor it for matters of national security, or I don't know what the other criteria are. But in this case, they got it back, and it's
covering
just like
up
blocks
things.
of black.
Yeah.
Like everything was blacked out. So here's your freedom of information request. So anyways, just a reminder, it's $12.1 million that was given to the Indian band tribe. I don't know what the right word to say is. To dig up these graves. They weren't dug up. No attempt was made to dig them up, and no attempt was made to give the money back either. So anyways, there's lots of examples of huge payouts of millions of dollars for, what do they have coming up? Is it FIFA?
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, some games that they just paid out millions of dollars to a bunch of tribes in BC for, so they wouldn't protest, I guess.
I read even about the Olympics, like, countries aren't super excited about hosting these things anymore.
No, because it's a huge economic, it's a boondoggle everywhere it's hosted.
I don't know, like who comes to them? If everyone watches them on, it's not like economic.
No.
Yeah, tourism.
No, I mean, there is some tourism, but like the cost to build all the infrastructure it's a vanity project, I think, for politicians. Anyways, okay. few things to go through, just like rapid fire. So the truck driver, I don't know if you remember this.
I'll believe it when I see it. We got to put those screws back in your pocket. And
yeah, we were moving more quickly then, eh? I'm uncomfortable. Let's get this over with. No, we got a long list. Okay, I don't know if you recall the Humboldt Broncos, the truck crash, right? Was it 16 or 18 people killed? And so that guy was not a citizen. He was a temporary resident. He's still here. And he served a little bit of time in jail. He's out. Since then, he's married, had a couple children in Canada, and he's still here. And, the CBC just did an interview with him in a very sympathetic picture. And he's paid his penance or whatever. And why are people get out of here? Right? Yes, we are Christians and we're called to be compassionate and loving, but it goes both ways, right? What is the saying? Compassion to the criminal is cruelty to the victim, or something like that, right? Very apropos in this case, because there's all these victims, all these families of these kids that were killed. They're suffering and they have to see this guy in the news and very sympathetic, oh, he has children here now. And yeah, I get it. That's sad, but I mean, the children can go back with him if he's really worried about ripping his wife, for that matter. If you're worried about ripping the family apart, he killed 16 Canadians, and he's not a Canadian citizen. Get out of you're lucky you don't get the death penalty, right? Get out of our country. I can't say it any more clearly. It's upsetting, and the fact that people are defending this guy. Human compassion is one thing, but justice is another. Yeah. And we don't have justice in this country. So and it's
why does the CBC present it in that way?
I mean, how far down the rabbit hole are we going to go?
Well, rapid fire. Rapid fire.
Because they're completely ideologically captured.
All right.
And anything that is anti-Trump is good. And what is Trump about? Deporting illegal immigrants. So therefore, we must keep all illegal immigrants, all immigrants, regardless, right? And it's it is amazing to me how much of the Trump effect affects us here in Canada. And we don't even realize it, but we just know, right? If Trump's doing something, we're going to do the opposite. Trump says, don't drink bleach. I'm going to drink bleach because clearly... he says one of his ministers or government officials says Tylenol could cause birth defects or autism. And what do pregnant women start doing? Chugging Tylenol on camera, saying, and then they have miscarriages or they have complications.
And they blame it.
They should be charged with murder for doing that. But so we just have this Trump derangement syndrome and general progressivism, leftism in general, which is it goes one way, right? So it's pro-immigration, and again, we're not against immigration per se. We're against unbridled immigration. We're against, for that matter, Iranian government officials, Iranian Guards officials being able to claim asylum in Canada and therefore not be deported, right? Which is happening. And they won't release the names of senior Iranian army officials who are in Canada and quite possibly are directing terrorist cells right now, right? I don't know if you've seen, Brent, but there have been protests at the U.S. consulate in Toronto.
And you're saying you've seen. It's no, probably
we have seen. One has seen.
The best.
Only the best. No, anyways, you get these protests at the U.S. consulate, right? Allahu Akbar, death to Canada, death to America. Why do we tolerate these morons? In Toronto. Shootings at the U.S. consulate. So, they're shooting at the building. So, okay, what's the big deal, right? What are you talking about? It's intimidation. It's terrorism. 3 shootings at synagogues in Toronto. Also, since the start of the Iran war, which maybe this is a good segue into that, but Iranian terrorism in Canada, Muslim terrorism in Canada, right? The two are hand in hand. But because Trump is, anti-Muslim, we have to be pro-Muslim. and get me off my soapbox. But it's like it just, I don't know if you can tell, but it upsets me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, there's the ideology and then there's the religion angle to this, right? And almost in our, actually, because you mentioned the past conversations we had with the last few guests,
Yeah.
and Jonathan Wellham, Robert Netzley, talking about biblically responsible investing and, the impact that our Christian values have when we're looking at how to invest our money and whatever. And the theme that comes up is like how quiet Christians are.
Yeah.
Like that's what struck me too, especially talking to Robert Netzley when he's talking about, we're going into corporations who are making decisions on where they're going to invest as a business or what kind of things they're going to support. And they're getting a lot of lobbying from the left. They're getting a lot of, like obviously the vocal people that they hear are on the left, right? And they're not getting the same or anywhere near the same amount of input from the right or from conservative Christians, because we just think let's live peaceably, we believe what we believe, it's the truth, we're over here if you want to come to our church, and you guys are all crazy, we have common sense, you guys seem like you're a little bit off the rails, we know the truth, so if you ever want to stop by, just come check it out. Like that's almost
but we're not going to engage.
We're not going to engage or do anything about it.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit outside of our comfort zone. But he said like they're starved for feedback, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you actually believe that you shouldn't be supporting the Pride Parade with this money? Well, then tell them, right?
Yeah.
Like it's so simple in a sense, but we're not the ones out there protesting, throwing nail bombs or whatever. You show me this video, we're going to get into that. And like, but we have a voice, we have things to say.
Yeah.
And you talk about like censoring free speech, right? That's how the truth is revealed, is through this speech. Like if they're trying to censor it or shut things down, we got to actually speak our piece.
Yeah.
before that comes to head, right?
Well, and so, my counterpoint to that was like, well, we all got jobs. We don't have time to go protest.
Yeah.
But Netzley mentioned, I don't remember the number, but the immense amount of wealth that Christians...
It was like 49.2% of all the, basically the markets in the U.S.
Yeah.
That's the U.S.
Yeah, which is like a staggering number.
Well, it's half the money.
I don't know how much it is, but it's a lot.
Yes, Brent, but they keep printing more every day. Well,
yeah, exactly. So it's being diluted. No, but then you think about like, okay, like maybe we can leverage that somehow.
Yeah.
Like leverage our whatever we do have. Like, okay, yeah, you have to be at work, but we also have energy and we can do stuff after work maybe. We can lobby, we can be active. And, so in Canada we have, is it a uniparty? Probably. But we have, essentially the Liberals and the Conservatives. And like, I'm at the point where, this is a little off track again, of course, but what else is new? No, I was just very discouraged at the Conservative convention where they voted down a proposal where they would basically speak out against transing kids and stuff, right? So they're like, no, we don't want to, we're not going to, and it was really close. But I'm like, if you guys can't even speak out against like one of the huge issues of our day of children being mutilated, and we're Christians, we have certain values and we don't expect that everybody else would, but even secular people understand that this is really bad and it's bad for Western values, and it's just like it's a terrible thing to do. And most of the conservatives also supported like the conversion therapy bans, and if you go back for voting records, Polyev included. So I'm just like at the point where like I'm kind of done with them too. Like, yeah, we need a counterpart to Carney, but like you guys are no better. If you're in power, what are you going to do? You're not actually representing what I believe. Yeah. And so how long do I keep voting for, the lesser of two evils kind of thing? Like, do we need a new party? I don't know. I'm a little bit like, I think maybe we just vote. So this is just along the lines of what you're saying, like we have influence. So I don't know, maybe we just all vote for the Christian Heritage Party or something instead next time, instead of saying like, well, they don't have a chance to get elected. So you know what? The Conservatives probably don't either. So let's show them that we're sick of it and make sure next time we have an election, which may be soon, I don't know, that they don't have our support.
Yeah. Even like Iran, all the stuff that's going on with the Trump derangement syndrome, like there is this religious undertone to it all, right? It's easy to kind of think it's just politics and geopolitical tensions and money and whatever, but no, it's religious ideology, and it's like the Muslim faith versus the Christian faith, you know, throw in whatever other faiths are out there competing, but those beliefs and who firmly believes what they believe, well, like the Muslims do, right? And they stand up for it, and long-term strategic ways, right? Taking advantage of institutions in the West and making them their pawns to do whatever it is, and then they achieve their goals, right? And I think Christians have been sitting on their laurels going, yeah, you know what? Like we kind of rule the roost over here, you know, yeah, we tolerate stuff. We tolerate, yeah, that's fine.
We're tolerant,
yeah. Like you can do whatever you want. And, you know, I believe over here, whatever, as long as it doesn't hurt me, you guys do what you want. Like that's got to come to an end, because it's not the truth. And specifically when Jonathan Wellham was talking, it was striking, like and maybe it was a combination of like, you know, you have or like really firm Christian values, but then you also have like, he's older, he's been through a lot, he's seen it, and he's just like, you know, old people, I don't say he's an old person.
I'm gonna tell him you said that.
Old people like Jonathan and Mark, compared to Gideon and myself, you know, just speak their mind, be like, look, I have nothing to lose. Like, I think we talked about this on the show with him too. Like he doesn't have people he's got to answer to the same way if he was working. And so yeah, it just comes out like, you know, the Bible is the truth. Stick to the principles in it and live them out confidently and speak them confidently in the public square everywhere. When you teach your kids, when you go to school, when you go to church, yeah, but outside of that, in the community, like people are desperately in need of the truth and of hope and of like a future. Like people want to live their life towards something. And if you actually have the truth, share it. So,
yeah, I mean, Muslims will pray in public and they will block streets and stuff. Like, you know, do you pray with your family if you're out at a restaurant before your meal? Like you would at home. I'm not saying you, but one, right? You do it at home, but then in the restaurant, we're like, oh, we don't want to like make a big showy display or do it like, you know.
I had it in a restaurant. I don't go to restaurants very often. We went out for breakfast the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing this shirt that, you know, friend made, and it's got big Bible text on the back. And this guy behind me, so he obviously didn't read my shirt, but he was like slandering Christians and like, what a joke that religion is. Like talking to the other guy. I was almost going to just like clock him on, you know. But
I don't know if that's the right approach necessarily.
No, we didn't get into a conversation, but that was my experience. So here we are praying, and this guy's like slandering me.
Well, just pray really loud next time. Like I don't know.
I was praying for him, you know.
Yeah. Okay. But just as an example, right? If you're out there, like they're not afraid to show it. Why should we be afraid? We have to, like you're right. We have to abandon this meek, tolerant attitude, right? Without being aggressive, without being crude, and you know, without being winsome, but just be like, no, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. Like, we can talk about it. Sure, let's talk about it. And then another thing that Wellham mentioned, which just it had me thinking for a while, right? Because I've always said, or my theory has been that, you know, time is not like, it's not progressive, right? It's cyclical. We always see things happening again. But he had a counterpoint. He's like, time is progressive in a sense because like God's bringing us to the appointed hour.
Yeah, it's
so I'm like,
the eschatology of things.
Yeah, there is actually an end point to time. So then I've had to rethink my whole thing. And what I came up with was a spiral. So it's still circular, but if you rotate it a bit,
Yeah.
it's moving in a certain, like it's going up and up and up,
Is
right?
it-
Till
is
that
it
appointed
a-
time.
So it might feel like a downward spiral, but it is actually an upward spiral, which is because we're all upside down, but the spiral is actually inverted. So
Okay, the two stewards unified theory of time.
yeah, there we go. Might feel like you're upside down, but that's because you're in a spiral going.
Spiraling forward. But anyways, that's my new theory. We still see the cyclical nature, but if you look at it another angle, you can see that we are headed to
Perfection.
the appointed time. But nothing under the sun is new. So there's a little bit of off track stuff. Just quickly on Canada, a little bit more. The budget for 2025 was just approved.
Wait.
2025-26.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, we just approved last year's budget.
Yes.
I love this country.
Yeah, we just approved last year's budget, close to an $80 billion deficit. And like, I saw something the other day where 2015, I think we had $1 billion deficit, and that was like, we're going from like surplus to deficit, and in federally. And now 10 years later, we're talking about $80 billion deficit.
So 80 times in 10 years.
Great. And like, I know it's cyclical, right? And sometimes you'll have, like, we have run deficits before, but then the budget was balanced.
But
And
the
it always,
population is so much bigger.
yeah.
They have so much more productivity. There's so many more government jobs.
I wouldn't say productivity.
So much more money that it should
Yeah.
all be working out. No.
You would, well, when you look at the government jobs for, the civil service
So I had
ballooned
an interview
40%.
with a tenant the other day. This is a prospective tenant. I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you want to do? Yeah, I'm in school for history. Okay.
Loser.
No, I was like,
Probably studying the Roman Empire or something.
Interesting. Okay. So what do you want to do with that? Yeah, it's Indigenous history. I'm like, oh, interesting. So what do you want to do with that? She's like, I want to work for the government. I was just like,
How hard did you bite your tongue?
yeah, I was like, if Mark was here, man, if Mark was here.
Get out of this house now. You're not going to have a job in
we signed
4
the
years.
lease because she's going to have a job.
Oh man, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she will. I think they're cutting. They say they're cutting, but in any case, 2026-27 budget is out, so that's cool. Or like the estimates, right?
Your note says looks grim.
I don't know what else to say, right? $505 billion estimate, and we always go over, right? It was 485 last year, I think, which actually went to over 600 billion. Anyways, so we're going to go over that clearly, but $65 billion in new debt. So that would be the deficit, the projected deficit. Mm-hmm. And again, we always exceed our targets in the federal government. So just more of the same, right? And interestingly, they estimated a 3.6% increase in revenue. I'm like, where is that coming from? We have an estimated 1% increase in GDP this year.
The Ring of Fire.
Yeah, well, there's still not a road there, so I don't know where that's going to come from, but it just shows you, like, there's not going to be a 3.6 increase in revenue.
Increase in taxes.
Well, that's where does revenue come from, right?
Yeah.
Taxes on people or industry. So, I don't think industry is going to provide it. So maybe income tax will increase a whole bunch. I don't know. That could do it. Or more likely, that's not going to happen.
AI,
yeah. AI is going to provide. More likely, it's not going to happen, and the deficit is going to be a whole bunch bigger than what they said. But that's like a common government trick, right? Like, oh, we're going to have so much growth, it'll pay for all these programs.
you think
and then
like
be
the common
nope.
wisdom for managing expectations is like quote it high and then come in low. That's how you please people. But
No, that's no, that's not even construction. I mean, that's, I guess, but that's not, no, you quote it low
get
you
the
end
job,
up high.
and then you go high. All right.
Yeah. You make your money on the extras, right? Only
Right.
thing is
For
the
all
government.
customers listening, we will be we'll be quoting it low and billing it high. All right.
I don't. Is this not your experience in construction?
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
like I know you got a lot of good guys
construction-
that do work for you, so probably maybe not as much, but in general,
I can see on the big, like, city municipal contract, that sort of thing, when you're dealing with the government, like you put stuff out to tender, you put a bid in, like you try and get the job, and then you go from there. But like, if you're dealing with a contractor doing some renovations, like you want to pin it down, the scope. The problem is the scope always changes, right? And people are like, well, actually, while you're doing this, I have this other dream that I had last night, and it's way better. So it's like, well, you better have the wallet to execute, or you're not going to get that dream. So. Anyways,
government operates on those same plans. Just highlight. So that's federally. Provincially, it's also very grim, right? BC is estimating a $13 billion deficit, which is bigger than the deficit in the state of California, by the way. California, who has about 40 billion people, kind of like Canada. We've got, 40 million.
But okay, so if we give away the land in BC, does a debt? does a debt?
I don't think they're taking the debt with them. No,
I can't even say that with a straight face.
You're gonna have the land, but you can't have the debt.
It's like when the financial crisis, where people are just handing over the keys to their homes. Like, you can have it, but here you go.
You have to deal with the bank. Anyways, $13 billion deficit for BC, $9 billion for Alberta, almost 12 for Ontario. Just like massive numbers. Even like New Brunswick, I think, had a couple $1 billion deficit. I'm like, you have 40 people living there. Like, what are you spending the money on? But the good news is we do not have a parliamentary budget officer to actually hold anybody accountable for this stuff. Remember Jason Jacques, who was like stupendous, he used a lot of big words to describe the federal budget situation, and surprisingly, it did not get renewed. But they also didn't hire anybody else for that job. So now the Parliamentary Budget Office, which provides a lot of information, is...
I mean, we can't complain if we're always saying you got to cut government spending, and they cut it. Well, we can't complain, Mark.
Yeah,
so.
Okay. I guess you're right. Well worth it.
What about across the pond? Should we jump across the pond for a minute?
No, first we'll cross the floor.
Okay.
And then we'll cross the pond.
All right.
So we had another floor crosser, this time from the NDP, from Nunavut. And coincidentally, Nunavut just got a whole bunch of federal funding. I'm not saying anything had anything to do with anything, but, connect the dots. Anyways, bringing them that much closer to a majority, right? I think there's 3 by-elections coming up. So if the Liberals win those by-elections, they will have a clear majority of like a couple people, I think. So it's interesting, right? A lot of people are mad and saying like, floor crossing should be banned. Like, if you're going to do that, you have to give up your seat and have an election. And I don't know. This is a system we have. Floor crossing has been a thing. So
what's the public sentiment? Like, I'm maybe a little bit out of tune, but like my sense is that younger people, 20s, 30s, maybe younger, 20s, they don't really care. I don't know. They're more conservative. Maybe they're a bit jaded with all this stuff. I don't know if they're following it. I don't know. Did they ever follow it?
I don't think so.
Does this really have an impact on my life? Like, it's all going to pot anyways, kind of attitude.
I think so. Like, I mean, I don't talk to young people.
Yeah.
So like as little as I can. So I don't really know.
Yeah.
But no, I think
You're
they're
such a
pretty
good listener, though. Eh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I think that seems to be, they lean more conservative, but at the same time, I think they're just jaded, and like,
so
that's why none of them vote either, right?
Showing, and I got to bring this up because this lady was, trying to get a new place. I think someone was selling their place, and she needed a spot. So her son was coming with, so she's like basically almost retired.
Yeah, and
her son, I'm probably like early 30s.
Right.
So yeah, what do you do? I'm a big gamer. Like, I kind of meant like income. Like, do you get a job or do you make any income? It's like, yeah, I like a bunch of different games. Like, I like ones that I can be creative and really express myself. Like, I still play Minecraft. It's like, I don't know what that is, but just like gaming is an avenue for him to kind of creatively express himself. And I'm like, I'm in a totally different paradigm, man. Like, I cannot figure out. And it was just surreal. In that moment, I'm like, you're like a few years younger than me, and you are not providing anything for anybody, and you're living in your mom's rental unit, and that's what you do. I'm like, that's just crazy. I'm like, are more people like that?
Yes.
So,
Yes, I see tenants like that as well. And I mean,
that makes me a bit sad.
A little bit sad.
When you listen to like business, like self-help kind of stuff where they're talking about like making a business, they're like, the competition has never been easier to start a business. Like, if you want to start a business, like, you got to beat people who are sitting there in front of video games in all their spare time.
Yeah.
Right. And how hard is that? Right. Like, so interesting.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you want to give the guy a shake. Like, do you know if he works or does he just play video? Yeah. Who knows? But that's all he talks about. Which, I mean, you know what? I think there's something to that, because you always meet people and they're like, oh, what do you do?
Yeah.
Right. And that's, I don't know.
Fishing. Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah.
Well, nobody ever asks, like, what are your interests?
But yeah, in the context,
you ask what your job is.
Like a tenant screening interview sort of thing, you're like, usually what do you do is...
Oh, because he's also going to live there?
Yeah, like him and his mom are living there. And I'm like, maybe you look like you could be easily old enough to have a full-time job, be done school, and like helping your mom out, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually buy your own house. But no.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Oh, yeah. Like, obviously, dummy. I don't care about your interests. Like, yeah, you like to paint. Good for you. How much money do you make? Yeah. Are you going to pay your rent?
Yeah.
Oh, smack. So you want to smack him, but you want to smack the mother too. Like,
well, that was interesting because the look on her face was almost like, turning her eyes away, kind of.
Like, just like,
I don't think this is not. Yeah, you shouldn't be. Like, and I'm like, you probably don't tell him not to do it. So, yeah, it's just a call to parenting too. Like, we parent in a totally different world. We were just reflecting on this the other day. Like, when did YouTube start? 2005.
Yeah.
And like, people didn't walk around with cell phones taking videos of stuff. Like, we just didn't. You didn't. Like, what was your life like? You didn't even have Twitter, man. Like,
I was still transitioning from a horse and buggy. Okay, so I was happy to get into a car.
Yeah. But all
internal
these
combustion
technologies just happened in the last 20 years, and you drive around, and it's almost like people are just stuck there on their phones. Like, this is crazy, man. Like, people need community. They need to come out to something and actually interact with live, real human beings, have a conversation. Remember those days where you're like, like, even my first real estate transaction, I bought a house. I was reflecting on that too. I'm like, we actually went to the office and signed with the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah. Wow, you're starting to turn into an old person, Brent.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep this rolling along there, fella. So yeah, liberal majority coming. I don't know, possibly, probably. And I just want to say, we predicted this back when the liberals first got the minority government. Like, we're looking at the NDP numbers, and it's like, take a genius to figure out. Like, you want to stay relevant, join the major party, right? And 7 members is enough. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see. I was surprised we saw conservatives. Like, I don't know the whole story behind all of them, but the NDP I would expect to see more of. Right now that you got one, like, probably there's going to be more. So
the floodgates.
Well, and then we won't even need a federal election, I don't think. Right? Like, maybe they'll call one if they think they have a lot more support, because it seems like conservatives are just floundering. But anyways, moving on. Quick update. You were right, by the way, about I'm like, we're going to do this rapid fire, and you laughed at me. And Brent was right again. Okay, UK. There's a lot of talk about banning dogs. Right? I saw the one clip where they're talking about the
There's
countryside.
A lot of talk about banning dogs.
Yeah, just stay with me, Brent.
Okay,
Stay. Right. I know you're thinking like, Mark's off his meds again. What is he? Why is he talking about dogs? I promise you, I'll tie it in. So in the countryside, for sure, right? People have their dogs off leash. The countryside is far too white. I'm not making this up. You go look it up, right? Comments, a panel, government report. And this includes, white people are out in the English countryside. The English countryside, walking the moors, Heathcliff, what's the house? I can't remember now. Anyways, famous book, right? With, you got the
Darcy?
Yeah, all
Pride
these
and
guys.
Prejudice.
No, I'm thinking of
Charles Dickens?
No. It's
There's so many good ones.
It'll come to me. But anyways, the brooding Garfield? No, that's not Garfield. It's a name like that. Anyways, you have the
Beatrix Potter?
No, the quintessential picture of the English manor on the moors, and like a man or a woman walking along, windswept.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some clouds.
Shooting
He's got his
fox,
hound.
Or shooting.
Maybe shooting a fox, but even just walking the moors.
Yeah. I know.
With your faithful hound. And that's all. That's far too white. I'm like, that's England. That is England.
I'm telling you,
anyways,
Mark, the Queen died.
Yeah. This is Brent's theory, people.
Queen died, and
Queen died,
phase
England
transition. Yeah.
Yeah. Just that was the last bit of civilization holding them, which I would probably agree. Anyways, they're talking about more dog bans in areas, possibly across Britain for certain breeds.
Have you read The Good Earth by Pearl Buck? I think that's the one. Yeah, where the guy builds up all this wealth over his whole lifetime, and then he's got this luxury lifestyle, and then his kids are like, pss, 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 we're going to sell it all when he dies. People are like, wait till the Queen dies, and then he just, it's going to be the same thing.
That was Prince Charles, I guess. Anyways, no, because dogs are haram in most of Islam.
Right.
And they're not even bending the knee to Islam anymore. They're like, I don't know if I could say this, bending over for Islam. In the UK, like, it's crazy. So there are some areas that are like Muslim majority, and they're seriously talking about dog bans. People are being cautioned for having their dogs out in public because, it offends Muslims in the area. And so, of course, predictably, you see videos now of people taking their very large dogs out in public, and like you just see the people like jumping away and being scared, and then other people will come be like, "Oh, hi, can I pet your dog?" And right, but a lot of people, certain people don't like dogs, so they're seriously talking about banning them in large areas of the UK. Some schools in the north, there's a school board that advised that some kids' drawings could be considered idolatrous by other peoples. I'll let you figure out who that is. So some drawings, some music, some dance. So you will want to be, this is a quote, you'll want to be flexible in catering for religious difference, right? It's not like they have kids being instructed in Muslim prayer and like actually doing prayers at prayer time, right? Going to mosques, learning it, doing it in the school. Like, it's sickening. And I don't,
How can
again,
you
I don't.
send your kids to public school these days? Like, what are people thinking when they send their kids?
And the UK is further ahead of us,
Yeah.
but the reason I like to look at the UK is because they're about 5 to 10 years ahead of us. And where they have gone, we go. And where they're going, we're going to go, unless we change, like we speak up. But yeah, you're right. Like, if it's not if it's not alphabet soup indoctrination, it's Muslim indoctrination. Mm-hmm. But that's because it's anti-West, it's anti-colonial, it's
anti-everything,
anti-Western. So anyways, like, why is this? And the only thing I can really think of, again, is sort of the Trump effect. And we're seeing populist leaders being either growing in popularity and when I say populist, people take that to mean right wing. It doesn't always, but in this case it is, because people are so sick of leftist progressivism across the world, right? You're seeing much more a backlash and a conservative influence, call it the Trump effect. where I think, if leftist ideology isn't dying, in certain areas it is, right? We've seen the switch away from climate change, more and more like papers coming out there saying like the whole premise of the IPCC, the International whatever for climate change, like is bunk.
Yeah.
Right. Bill Gates walked away. We saw that. So it's, maybe it's changing and not dying, but to me, it's like it's like the death throes, or the convulsions of a wounded skunk. Say that because skunks are stinky.
Yeah. Okay.
And their philosophy stinks as well. No, but it's
Have
like,
you ever killed a skunk and you see the last death convulsions?
no, I haven't, but I can imagine. I've seen them like angry.
Yeah.
I can imagine if they're wounded.
You should be an author, That's good. That's good there.
Yeah, that's poetry in motion. Or is it pottery in motion?
Yeah.
That's when my wife threw a vase at me. I'm like, wow, that's like pottery in motion. Crash.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, it seems like
Well, okay, I'm reading
they're pushing as hard as they can because they know the time's almost up.
Yeah.
Possibly. And if they want to get, and this relates to what we're talking about with the Indigenous rights, like the land claims and stuff, with almost everything, right? You're seeing like it's coming fast and furious. And yeah, maybe since the Queen died, but it's like maybe they see the writing on the wall. And if they want to get their agendas implemented, they got to do it now before it's too late and people turn back, right? So that's kind of my take on it.
People are just so selfish. It's sad. But like you're in your realm, in charge of your own budget, and then it's not your money, but you want to keep your job, you want to keep your people underneath you, and you want to keep all thing going. You just try and spend this money, like yeah. No, I'm reading because when you're talking about like the last convulsions of a dying skunk, it made me think. Well, it made me think about this. I'm reading
book 2 follows shortly.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Have you read these books?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So like,
have I read them? Come on.
I meet a lot of people who haven't read them, and I meet also a lot of people who've read them like 8 times. So
I didn't read them that many times, but
yeah,
it was a long time ago.
But just the idea that this evil force, like it almost seems like it's going to win, and it seems like it has so much power, but that power is like built on nothing. And that book really portrays the idea that like evil can't create anything. It's just twisting what is good, right?
Yeah.
And so it kind of reminds me of the same sort of thing we're dealing with this economic situation too. Like they're not creating like hard work, right? Discipline, prudence, like saving money, raising children, teaching them good principles, good morals, according to like the scripture has it right. That's the way to do it. And that will lead to, right? And it's not prosperity gospel, but that will lead to flourishing and abundance and serving other people and compassion. All these things that they're like buzzwords that all these different organizations kind of say, well, we're like compassionate because we're killing people. It's compassionate. It's like you're hijacking the word, you don't know what it means. Compassionate is taking them and caring for them in a Christian context with a lot of resources around them and like being there, right? Teaching them about the hope that we have. So that book, Lord of the Rings, highly recommend. the best. But yeah,
a white Christian author, by the way.
Yeah.
I roll.
You probably had a dog.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So okay, so everything you just said.
By the way, it's Pemberley. That's the big one in Pride and Prejudice.
Pemberley Man. Oh yeah, no, it's not Pride and Prejudice. It's the one with
an epic house.
The one with Heathcliff. What was Heathcliff in?
I don't even.
It was another Jane Austen, I think.
Is that Sense and Sensibility?
Yeah, not Garfield, but Heathcliff. I don't know why I got those two confused. Maybe it was
Emily Bronte. Wuthering Heights?
Oh, Wuthering Heights. Yeah, sorry,
okay.
Not Jane Austen. Oh boy, I got to revisit
I haven't done that.
My feminist authors. Anyways, everything you just said, like we need to understand that it's not some hopeless band of confused people. I mean, like we think they are, that are sort of on the other side. They see, and I'll say us or Christians or conservatives in the exact same way. There is a religious zeal driving all of these decisions. And that's why we're seeing such obstinacy and such like hardcore beliefs, right? They may not have it, like they don't have the Bible and be like, here, you know, you want to know about us, like read this. But everything you just described, you could equally say that from a left or a progressive standpoint, right? With the same amount of conviction. And that's, I didn't understand that for a long time. I'm like, why are they doing this? Oh, they believe in some silly thing. And what, like, no, this is their religion. This is what they believe. And they believe it with equally, if not more conviction than we have our own beliefs. So that's what we're facing. And that's why you're seeing like these ridiculous, we think they're ridiculous things. But you know, they would say the same about us, right? If we had a law passed that was outlawing abortion, they would see it in the same. They'd be like, "What a ridiculous, backwards, crazy thing that we have to fight against."
But there is one truth,
right?
Like,
and that's whatever I believe in.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where it becomes like, okay, well, there can only be one right answer, like unless you can say, well, actually your truth and my truth and we can coexist. It's like, no, that's not
yeah, so I mean, we characterize it that way, and I do often, but when you talk to people, they just don't know, or they will disagree with you and be like, no. And like you can argue and get down to it and stuff, but they don't really see it that way either.
Yeah, the only people that I've ever kind of interacted with would be like politicians who would say, yeah, but that's your truth.
Yeah.
Who are, they're wordsmiths.
Yeah, well, they're just trying to avoid the actual debate and the confrontation. So,
all right, we're getting back in.
Okay, I don't know. Let's see, where are we here? We got
halfway.
Okay. Maybe we should wrap up a little soonish, but I guess the other thing we should quickly cover, because our opinions are so important, Brett, is the war in Iran and just global,
is there a
destabilization.
war, or is it done now?
As far as I know, it's still on.
Okay.
I don't think they've called it off. So
Trump didn't say it was done. Like, didn't he say it was done?
He may have, but like it ain't. Right? Until the Strait of Alex Hormozy is open. No, it's not. It's the Strait of Hormuz. Until that's open and there's no more drones and rockets shooting out.
That strait, by the way, was it 20% of global oil comes through there?
Not just oil, natural gas as well.
So
right?
that's pretty important. Little
very important. Right? Like you saw the price of oil doing gyrations, right? I think it went up to like for Western Intermediate WTI went up to what, 120 or something. Now it's back down to like $80. And anyways, it's
well, there's a bunch of different angles to look at this war, and one is like the geopolitical and the strategy behind it, and you know, the military side, and then there's like the economic angle.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you want to look at
this.
It's
all, I mean, it's tied together, right?
Yeah.
Well, because it's about energy. So I still haven't done my...
no, it's about money.
My, well, I mean, it all comes down to money, but...
It's about ideology, Mark. We're the best. We're the best.
Money is ideology. Anyways, I still have to do my quick analysis of the U.S. National Defense Strategy, just because I think that's so pivotal to what is happening and what is going to happen in the world over the next few years. And then, you know, once Trump is out of office, we will see. Maybe he becomes supreme dictator and and stays on. We'll call him, you know, Trump Augustus. Oh man, just for those in the audience who don't like Trump.
Yeah.
Just needling you a little bit there. But anyways, it's all laid out, right? They're what they're going to do. And then, you know, you can read other motivations into that, but at least they have kind of said, like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to protect U.S. interests in the Western Hemisphere. We want to get out of the Middle East. So we want to leave it kind of stable. And like any troublemakers.
When's the last time the U.S. said they want to get out of things? This is the Trump strategic plan.
Yeah. 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 This is
the way wars go is you get into them and then you spend money on them, and that's like this economic driver for all the people involved, and then
Correct.
you cause chaos and you leave, and then Afghanistan happens where the power goes back to the same people that it started with.
Exactly. So yeah, and in this case, I mean, yeah, they don't want Iran to be a power in the Middle East because they're also a global power, right? So they want to, like, I think they want to topple that regime. People say it's not about regime change. Like, yeah, of course it is. Why are they killing everybody who's in power? Like, and any new guy that gets elected, like within 24
hours. I heard an interesting
hours,
perspective on that. Like,
gone.
if you do that, you end up kind of like, you could think about, if I lived in Iran, I was Iranian, like, what would I think if I had this external nation coming and taking out people? Like, would I support the U.S. outright, right away, for sure, hands down? Or would I be like, no, Iran is my country, get out of here, kind of thing? Like, are you going to build support for?
I mean, I would think between, so hard to know what the numbers are, but between 20 and 40,000 dead Iranian protesters would say and have said, yes, we welcome anybody who wants to come and take out this regime, please do, because that's what we want. So, I mean, it doesn't come in a vacuum, right? And it's not like, so here's one thing to consider, right? People look at what's happening in the world, and it's happening at breakneck speed, and like, oh, it's just Trump is chaotic, right? He's an agent of chaos. He's doing stuff here, he's doing stuff there, like just willy-nilly. It's like, it's not. It's part of the strategic plan. They have a limited amount of time to implement it. They have a limited amount of time to sort out the economic mess in the States before it all goes to pot, right? So Iran is part of this. They want to be able to get out of the Middle East, but leave it stable with no major powers. And Iran is like the big power there. So if they can topple the regime, and coupled with grassroots growth, like restore the Shah, this Reza Pahlavi feller, as a leader, and then kind of just get out and let them figure it out, and hopefully it doesn't go back to chaos, right? But this is why I think they're trying to do a comprehensive clean out of any of the old people in power. And then you're going to have some of the former officials there, I assume, to create some stability, but make it clear, like what you guys were doing, no, and we're going to find you. And like, some of the stories are crazy, right? Like Mossad had doctors in there for years, and they were doing like dental implants. So you go to the dentist, oh, he's actually a Mossad agent, and you're getting your tooth filled. You're getting a tooth filled with a tracker. This is how they knew where all the guys were, right? You're getting a colonoscopy? Great, we'll do that, and we're going to stick a little chip in your gut somewhere. Same thing, right? So, like, the intel that Israel has in Iran is I would assume pretty comprehensive. So, I'm assuming they have a plan, because people are like, oh, they have no, like, there's some kind of plan.
There's some kind of.
You just, know what it
what's
is.
interesting too is I've heard a lot of talk, different podcasts, about the asymmetry of the war, right?
Yeah.
Where, the U.S. is this big military might. We've got this big Navy, Air Force. We've got, that ties into the economic angle of this too, right? Because the big theme that we've kind of been noticing is this de-dollarization of the world. It used to be the dollar was the reserve currency of the world. It's kind of a given. That was back. That whole era was backed because the U.S. military backs the dollar, right? So you don't want to mess with, like, you don't want to try and go outside the dollar regime, because the U.S. military is going to come and kind of enforce it. Yeah. But now you're seeing, like, and this is an interesting comment on a podcast to listen to, and the guy said basically, like, what backs the dollar? Well, that we have 13 carrier groups. So he's talking about, like, I don't know if it's 13 or 11 or whatever, but you have these 13 nuclear carriers that can, like, Navy ships that can actually do some serious damage. Okay.
Well, so it's not just the carrier, but it's like all the support, everything with it, which is like enough to invade most countries. Yeah. Just one group.
So, but hold that thought, because that was enough to invade most countries like 5 years ago. Sure. Right. So his thing was like, well, what backs it, the dollar, is the nuclear power that the U.S. has, Yeah, and none of those carrier groups wanted to go into the Strait of Hormuz because of Iran's drones and missiles,
Yeah.
right? Which, if you look at the asymmetry, right now, I'm sending in all of this money on a concentrated area, sending it into the Strait of Hormuz, trying to clear it out, and you can take me out with missiles that cost like a fraction of, your big carrier ship, and you can produce them so fast.
Yeah.
Like there's a big asymmetry there for Iran. And it's kind of opening up the whole de-dollarization thing because now, the realization other countries are going, wait a minute, like is the U.S., is that type of technology and that military might that used to kind of scare everybody into submission, is that actually the way of the future?
Yeah.
Or are we moving to, and this is the argument, right? Are we moving from dollar-based single reserve currency of the world to multipolar? Like, do we have the West uses the dollar, Europe and Japan, whatever, and US, and I guess Canada, like, you always see the charts. It's like Europe and US and Japan. Yeah, but what about Canada? No, well, like, we're there, but we're not there, And then you got, like, Asia, and then you got the southern hemisphere, basically. And it's like, yeah, you could have like the BRICS nations doing their own thing.
Have you heard the new one, CRINC?
CRINC, no.
So that's China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. Oh, I think there was a S in there. Is it Singapore? I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, but I'm not surprised because we have like all these different trade routes opening up and different alliances, and they want to do trade, but if they got to denominate in US dollars and they don't agree with the US and they're being sanctioned, like Iran is being sanctioned like crazy.
Yeah.
Right. They want some freedom from that. And now they don't have to answer to the US because they can send over a few missiles that cost $5,000 and take out like meaningful amounts of military power. Like, is a tide turning?
So first of all,
and is there some big shift here happening at the end of our podcast?
Huge shift. But first of all, where do British people go when they die?
I don't know.
Well, they go to asymmetry. That's my symmetry joke. Anyways, so like, yes, but I don't, people are saying this like they're just realizing like, oh yeah, there's it's like guerrilla warfare or whatever, right? Like when the British were still fighting and then the Americans were fighting like Indians, right? They would hide behind trees and shoot them and then go like, oh, that's not fair. And they had to adapt to that. Like, I think the US knows this. They war game the heck out of everything. So I'm imagining they probably did this for the, am I giving them too much credit? I don't know, but probably, right? When you're running these carrier groups, like you're not just, okay, let's go over here, guys. Like there's a reason
cyber warfare,
for repositioning.
There's,
Yeah, all kinds of stuff going on. So people are talking about missile stocks, right? Like this is a war of armaments, of missile stocks. It's not a ground war, but it's like, when are they going to run out? So, okay, maybe. Like,
war is so destructive. It's like, here, you shoot one of these, we got to shoot 20 to try and intercept that missile. And we need all the rare earths in the world to like make those things
for the
happen.
guidance systems.
And what we get out of it is nothing. So, all right.
Well, the question is, what does the U.S. get out of it, right? And what's their strategy? So number one, like you're shooting a $50,000 drone or a missile out of the air with $1 million missile. Like you can't last that long. I mean, they just have to outlast Iran, right? They have to either destroy their military and drone capabilities, right? So that's one of the things they did in Venezuela, by the way, is they had drone factories. Iran, though? Well, so China, this is the big, like Russia as well. But this is the bigger picture, right? So one is like, get out of the Middle East. Let's let Israel kind of probably be the power there once we get rid of Iran, right? So, is it like, okay, they could see this asymmetry building and being like, okay, let's get them before they have like 20 million drones. Maybe they have like 500,000, but let's do this now. And by the way, that's defensive, right? They're the asymmetric warfare. It's not like Iran can go invade somebody. They're still not able to do that. So on one hand, like you were saying, but the other, I guess the other part of the picture is, as I play with the camera here, what effect is this having on China? So in regards to Taiwan, and we got to wrap this up soon, but is this going to embolden them to attack Taiwan because they're like, oh, all their anti-missile defenses are depleted? Or are they going to be like, oh, wow, they really kicked their butts and we don't want that to happen, so maybe we shouldn't touch Taiwan? I'm not sure which side we're on quite yet, but also like the war or the conflict is like, it's not even, a week old or a week and a half? So it's it's
I've
still
heard of
early
it,
days.
So it's gotta be a week.
No, it's a week and a few days. So it's still very early days, right? And the U.S. has destroyed almost all the military leadership. So I don't know, let's give it a little bit of time before we say oh, they completely screwed up and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But then behind the scenes, what does it do to China, right? What does China get out of this? And sure, they're going to be supporting Iran if they can. But they're it's all about energy. So you talk about de-dollarization. I think Trump and their administration, and they've admitted this, they can't afford to be the world's policeman anymore. So they want strong allies. They want NATO to rearm themselves, which guess what? NATO's rearming themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's hilarious how Trump did that, where he's like, oh, I'm going to invade Greenland. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Because before they're like, no, we're not going to meet our NATO targets. All of a sudden, they're talking about conscripting. Germany's talking about conscription and stuff. So and they're increasing their military budgets, right? But you have a thought.
No, I was just waiting to hear what you had to say.
Oh, okay. So it's about energy, completely about energy, and how the U.S. can still assert their dominance over energy and energy supplies. So the Middle East is an important part of energy for the world. So if they can keep these guys trading in dollars, keep their gas and their oil in dollars, there's no de-dollarization because energy is the most important
we can't
commodity.
belabor this too much, but you think that they wanted to create
you think I can't?
Create good trade relationships and you flourish when there is no war and when you can freely trade back and forth and act in people's beneficial best interests, whatever. But if you start doing this sort of stuff, and everybody's escalating and spending money on defense and war and military spending and
but if you don't do anything, then you open the way for other people to to be the aggressors.
That's the other side to it, is if you don't do anything, but maybe this goes back to your idea of the circular thing. We just have to go through a period
the spiral.
The spiral, yes. The upward spiral. But the de-dollarization thing, I just think from the economic perspective is important to hit home. We may enter a world in the next 20 years where we have 3 reserve currencies or 4, or, certain ones. You have a clearinghouse on this side of the world, you have a clearinghouse on that side of the world, and you kind of got to interact between. So when you're looking at it financially,
and this is what Trump is trying to avoid is de-dollarization.
It's it is a desperate claw of a dying skunk, like you said.
I would look at this as a little more
like a dying
not reactionary, but proactive attempt, right? It's a little reactionary given the amount of debt in the system and the debt that the U.S. holds, and they're like, we got to do something. But if they can achieve all their goals and have a very strong Western Hemisphere that is essentially led by the U.S.,
independent.
And the U.S. is energy and manufacturing independent, and the biggest trade partner across the world, and also guarantees the protection of energy extraction industries across the world, like oil specifically. Oil's not dead.
That's where the AI stuff comes in, is this energy independence, this reshoring of manufacturing.
Any important tech.
Yeah.
If AI is going to be super important, then the U.S. has to be the leader.
So does this kick off?
So if they do that, there's no de-dollarization, is what I'm saying.
All right.
I
All I
mean,
know is Canada's not the superpower.
yeah. I mean, our military is in such a sad state. We're talking like, oh yeah, we're gonna do military. Like, we can't, guys. We can't. Anyways, that's a sad note to end off on. But
Mark, you're going to become an author, and you're going to write the book. I think I can't.
by Canada.
Yeah, by Canada. The upward spiral.
Downward spiral of Canada.
That can't.
Okay, I like it. I'm going to work with that. Okay, well, there's a quick depressing rundown of things in the world. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And hey, I just want to put it out there. If you enjoy the show, if you enjoy the content, give us a 5-star rating or whatever the best thing to do on your platform of choice. Do that, and that'll help us grow our audience and be able to bore even more people.
Reach out to us and tell us what they're thinking, even if it's. Remember that one guy? He said, "Oh, what did he say?" He's like,
"You think you're funny, but you're not."
Yeah, you think you're funny, but you're not.
Yeah. Oh, I almost choked. Yeah, I mean, we get those. We get those too, and I laugh at them too. So hey, we invite all feedback. Anyways, thanks for listening, folks. Until next time,
steward your wealth wisely. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Two Stewards Show. If you like my voice better, click subscribe.
If you like my voice better, click share.
If you like both, give us a 5-star rating.
To learn more about the show, head on over to twostewards.ca and explore our free resources. To interact with the show, feel free to reach out at hello@twostewards.ca.
We will see you in the next episode. In the meantime, steward your wealth wisely.
Nailed it.